Hello.
Hi.
Hello, hello.
Hi, David. Oh, are you
Hi.
calling in from España?
Yep. Still here. We'll be back in about 10 days.
Uh-huh. Not coming back for the weather then.
No.
Cheryl's father's funeral.
Charlton's father's funeral is going to be tomorrow morning on Friday, but it's pretty much private.
Okay.
Private. They're doing everything privately.
Now what?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what
People
Who's
have been
officiating?
asking.
What's that?
Who's officiating?
I'll be there.
Sitting shit or not?
It's all going to be private. Okay. You know, because his mother was not involved, has not been involved in our synagogue in decades. And Charles was so involved here, and she didn't want like 1,000 people to turn up to the synagogue and overwhelm
They
them.
wouldn't,
They wouldn't, yeah.
but it was nice.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know,
For me,
for
it
you,
was
yeah.
wonderful.
I think Charles might want it too.
Yeah.
For her, she doesn't know any of these people.
Where do they live?
Sorry.
I know.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This study.
How's the weather in España?
Beautiful.
That's about 80 above here. Very pleasant.
That sounds nice.
Where are you in Spain?
Near Malaga, about 20 miles east of Malaga, in a town called Benajarafe, which is an Arabic name. So we're in the midst of where the Arabs used to live in the south of Spain.
Yes, my partner and I are going to go to Spain in May for a little trip.
I'm sure where are you going? To this area or some other?
We're kind of do a little bit of, we're going to do Barcelona and Girona, because I want to go to the Jewish sites. And then Madrid and Granada.
Yeah, we're pretty close to Granada here. We're about 60 miles away.
Oh, yeah. I think he likes architecture. He should see the Alhambra.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That one, Father Day.
Easy enough. Yeah,
Was it expected or was he?
with the heart attack, it wasn't expected.
Who's this you're talking about, Rabbi?
Charles's father passed away.
Oh, that's too bad.
Days ago. The note should go out soon. But so yeah. Well, he's one of these people who had like a quadruple bypass like 20 years ago. A big thing.
He lives in Chicago, right?
Yeah, he lives in Lombard. Yeah.
Oh, in Lombard, okay.
Oh, Tomas? Yes, I spoke to him. He was very helpful. He's a nice guy. He's a very nice. He said just he's a very nice person.
Thomas and Caroline?
Yeah, I gave, she wants to go to Spain.
Yeah.
And I asked Tomas
Oh,
if I could give Leslie his number. He
That's so
said,
great.
"Okay."
Okay.
He's such a sweet guy.
Sweet guy. Yeah.
So did he tell you to cut out any places? No, he actually wanted us to go to Seville too. Okay.
He loves to go.
But his hometown, I said. Oh, well, for sure. Yeah.
All right, everybody. I think we're going to begin. Will Charles, will Phil.
Good morning.
Morning.
Norma, and Bonnie and David, we're back.
Forgot Diane.
So this is it.
Oh, you did say
I did
eight.
say
I missed that.
Oh, I
Okay,
did.
sorry.
We're beginning again. This class is starting again.
Good.
We'll open up our champagne bottle. So this year my plan is to do things a little bit differently. And every class is going to be different. And we're going to look at a lot of different things, a whole wide range of things. And we'll try and keep it fresh. And sometimes it will be parsha, and sometimes it will be, later prophets, and sometimes there will be something about prayer, and sometimes there'll be something about current events or just big questions about Judaism. And, what does Judaism believe about this or that? Kind of interesting little things. And so over the next few months, a few things that I might talk about is, how open to other religions is Judaism, and Judaism has and different kinds of to examine. But we're going to start with how does one build? How do you, if so, this is just our daily siddur, right? This is our daily prayer book. Pretty thick for people who have to work and live their lives. Like this is what you do on one day. I mean, there's a few holidays compared to it, but I mean, so we're going to look at one piece of the prayers that Jewish people say every day, and to see how we make it meaningful and study where it comes from, and kind of talk about it and think about how it applies to our lives. And uh, and really, how, for me, the goal is always how could each one of us, how could you make this into something that you do every day? Choose this one little bit to do something you do even day, or even when you're not at Minyan, or if you don't come to Minyan, and do it anyways, and make it something that gives you meaning. And if it's something you do when you come to Minyan or your Shabbat services, instead of just being something that you kind of go blah 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 blah, and your mind is thinking about Kiddush already, even though it's the beginning of the service, or your mind is thinking about
Nobody could do that.
or thinking about this, or thinking about this thing what this person said, or what you have to tell to this person, or which is what most of us, and when we pray. And part of it is because we have so much we have to pray through, right? But part of it is because it's in Hebrew, and there's so many different things in English. So about how do you, and the rabbi struggled with this too. One of my favorite passages in the Talmud is about a rabbi who talks about, I'm praying, but my mind is like in the clouds. No, so how do you focus yourself? And so I think by making it meaningful and actually kind of studying about stuff and then thinking about it, and then you can turn that into at least one little piece of it that makes it meaningful, gives you something. Because if you're going to be there for 2 hours on a Saturday morning and it doesn't give you anything, what the heck are you doing there? It's got to give you something. Got to nourish your soul.
I started reading all the words about 3-4 years ago, and it makes a big difference. Whereas I used to just skim over it.
Skim over, yeah. Actually read all the words, yeah. Yeah. You're in this. I love that. And there is a reason why we still read them 2,000 years later. They're pretty powerful, right?
Right.
If they really were that bad, someone would have discarded them a while ago. And there's a whole history of why we say them the way we do, which is part of what we're going to be looking at too. And so maybe a final little bit to my little introduction is to say that the Jewish ideal, right? This is the ideal, and this kind of even predates how much we have to get through every day. Is that a Jewish person should say how many blessings a day?
600.
613,
100 blessings a day.
126, okay.
What's the 600 for?
That's how many mitzvahs there are. Yeah,
613.
613 mitzvahs.
So 100 left.
You're supposed to say 100 blessings a day. And so why say 100 blessings a day?
Different ones or the same one?
Doesn't matter.
Oh,
So
to remind you.
yeah, to remind you, and it's like right, I talk about this often, but the Hasidic story of the man or woman, if you've got $1 million diamond in your pocket, then you're going to think about that diamond wherever you are, right? Whether you're walking down the street, you're not going to be thinking about the street or about all the stuff going on around you. You're going to be thinking about the $1 million diamond in your pocket and making sure it doesn't fall out of your pocket. And when you're talking in the meeting, you're still going to be thinking about the $1 million pocket in your pocket. And when you're when you're in the bathroom and having, wherever you are, if you think about $1 million diamond because you don't want to lose it, and
Keep
then
touching it.
keep touching it, right? So they're saying that's how the presence of God should be in one's life, and how do you keep? So it should be infinitely worth, but it's hard for us to quantify it in
But
that
maybe
same
it
way.
can keep you calm also.
It can keep you calm, right? That peace, how that calm is priceless, right? The peace and calm of feeling connected to God is priceless. So you could just put your mind and think, what can I do to keep my mind calm? So those 100 blessings are like that time you check in with the diamond, right? So 100 blessings a day. So what are blessings? They're really forms of gratitude. A lot of them are forms of gratitude, right? So if you had 100 times in your day where you express gratitude, but if you come to Minions, there's 30 blessings in every morning service, 30 plus. You've already knocked out 30 out of the 100. But if not, there get 100 times a day where you thank God for everything in your life. And you've got constant stream, right?
I bet that's where AA got this from.
Okay.
Because every morning at 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
there's a gratitude meeting.
Is
And
there?
people who are, involved in the AA program go to that because it helps them focus on what they're grateful for
Yeah.
and stop worrying about, drinking or using drugs.
And stuff. 6 a.m. So you start your day that way.
And I bet they took that from something like you're talking.
Yeah, probably. And right, one of their steps is belief in this higher power. Right?
That's right. Yeah.
I know some Jews who've approached synagogues for the first time because they're going through AA and they're like, belief in a higher power. I'm like, well, I don't believe in a higher power, so you help me believe in.
Parents of Botchnik used to ask me, do Jews abuse alcohol and drugs? I mean, this is like
Yeah.
19s in the 60s. I said, trust me, they do.
They do. Yeah, right. Well, where Jews begin having the first taste of alcohol. Kiddush.
Right.
That's right.
Or on their gums when their boys are getting a bris.
Bris, yeah, the bris. Yeah. The bris, but
Doris Levin's husband, Joe, and I used to be involved in starting a Jewish AA group on the north side. He really did remarkable things with.
wow. No, we're no different than anybody else.
That's right.
We have the same thing, but so these blessings of gratitude that we have. So these are in some ways the first 10 we say. And we're going to first look at the prayer book. And I'm sorry for those of you online. If you have any prayer book, you can find them in the prayer book if you're Shachar. We're going to first read them in the prayer book, and then before we study the Talmud passage that talks about them. It's on page 6 in the daily prayer book. There are a few other blessings that precede it, like the blessing over washing your hands, over the tefillin, and let's even go back one to the very first thing you say when you wake up, because that's a good preface to all this. Let's go to page 1, numero uno, right? The first thing you say when you get up, modeh or moda ani lefanecha melech hapai. Can someone reach for I'm grateful.
I am grateful to you, living, enduring sovereign, for restoring my soul to me in compassion. You are faithful beyond measure.
So that's the first thing you're supposed to say when you wake up. Some people really find a lot of meaning in saying that. Some people like that when you wake up, you open up your eye. Even if you open up your eyes, like you say that. And some people find that really meaningful to say that Hebrew or the English. That's really beginning a day of gratitude. But I want to turn to page 6 and the blessings that we say. And by the way, if someone says a blessing and you say amen, that counts as one of your 100, right? If it's one that you're, because amen is like, so. We'll go around saying all these blessings. They're on page 6 in the daily prayer book, in the Shabbat prayer book.
We do that on.
we do, it's on page 103 in the new Lev Shalem. And if you have any other prayer book, you could find them, but we'll read them out loud so you can hear them too. And it doesn't matter that much if you're, so one each. Alan, go ahead.
Okay. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, enabling us to distinguish day from night.
Praise are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, making me in the divine image. Praise are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, making me a Jew.
Praise are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, giving sight to the blind.
Does anybody have any more online? Anybody have them online?
No,
No,
Alan, go ahead.
Okay.
Bill has.
You have,
Go ahead, just go ahead.
okay. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, clothing the naked.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, releasing the bound. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, raising the downtrodden.
Praise are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, providing for all my needs.
Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, guiding us on our path.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, strengthening the people of Israel with courage. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, crowning the people of Israel with glory.
Praise are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, restoring the giver to the living. Okay.
I
Yeah,
like the
good.
one best about making me a Jew.
Yeah, okay. Very nice. I was gonna ask, yeah, which one you, and then there's the other one that was at a later time. Praise you, Adonai, God who rules the universe, removing sleep from my eyes and slumber from my eyes.
Mhm.
Right. And the other ones that you feel particularly connected to? Any of that, anybody? Or that jumped out to you when we read them?
I like the last one. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, restoring vigor to the weary. That's a good one. You often get tired during the day and think, oh, I just want to sit down. I don't want to work anymore.
Yeah.
And then you need sort of that pick me up again.
A little, some this, you know, in the one of these these blessings, you know, kind of picking up paths and remembering the diamond. That's one of the ways of finding spiritual, you know, and physical and spiritual vigor kind of can go together. Not always. But,
Art,
go ahead. These are poetic renderings of what's actually said in the Hebrew. And we'll get into what they actually say. Yeah. Go ahead.
So, but it brings
okay,
it's different.
It's a little bit different in Glick, yeah. So like the first one here, it says, you know, enabling us to distinguish day from night, who gave discernment to the rooster to distinguish day from night. A little bit different, yeah. Anybody else, Alan?
I want to ask the one about giving sight to the blind. Is that literally giving, or has that been interpreted as literally giving sight to someone who is blind, or is that a metaphor for, you know, opening up the eyes of people who don't want to see what's in front of them or whatever?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
But it is the word for blind, but it's not like the evangelical, I was blind, I can see, like
Yeah, they're
you know.
screaming in the church.
you know. Anybody else, ones that they enjoy, anyone that they enjoyed? Why? Okay.
I didn't hear what she said. I didn't know.
Oh, what the
I like the one on the blank image. Thank you.
Yeah, blind image, yeah.
Praise are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, restoring vigor to the weary. Okay.
Well, the divine image, so some of these were changed in the conservative version, because in the traditional version that's been around for thousands of years, there were two versions. One for those You say, thank you, God, for making me a man. And then for women, it said,
Instead of a woman.
and then it was making me a so I think, I mean, it's very patriarchal, but I think it was a world that favored men, and so men were happy about it. And but obviously, that's one of the, you know, one of the changes the conservative movement made that I'm very happy about. And they actually found, this is not only that they made it, but they found ancient documents where that change also existed in certain Jewish worlds. So they didn't just make it up. They brought back an old strand and made it central. And then the one about the Jew also. I mean, this is what we have. Anybody else, ones they enjoy or
Isn't there a prayer for thanking, being thankful for being, to waking up?
Yeah, they just, there's a curve.
well, it's the first one, Modeh Ani Lefanecha. But so but it's a good question actually for where we're going to go with this, which is that these we now say as part of a service in synagogue, but originally these were said as you were waking up. These were literally, this is what the Talmud that we're going to get to says. These were a series of blessings that were very concrete, that were said as you were just waking up in the morning, coming into the, kind of opening up to the world. Anybody else before we go, ones that they enjoy, or what Morris you're about to say?
May I just ask, I didn't quite hear what you said about the early discovery of or earlier formulation of where the negative ones are at least some of them are affirmative instead. I'm thinking, of course, of Shlo Asani Isha.
Yeah.
And I think you said that there was some earlier
There was,
versions.
there was a fragment that was found in I believe it's a Cairo Geniza, but it might have been, what comes into my mind is that it was an Afghani tradition, to say that. So that from.
So they said Shas. What did they say instead of Shlo Asani Isha?
Shesani B'Tzomo, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. I
Or
have
maybe, or maybe they had. I'll have to look it up. I have it in my office, so I'll go look it up in a minute. But they.
Isn't it also supported by Bible? I mean,
Which one? The
Genesis, God made them his image, male and female.
I hear what you're saying that the.
Am I don't know if I'm getting that correct.
No, you're completely correct. The Bible it has that, but by the time of the rabbis, most societies they were so patriarchal that they, there's a lot of things in Judaism also favor the man. Men, in our days, even Orthodox men will say, well, women don't have to do all these things because they're so much holier than men. So that's their way of making excuses for not being egalitarian about it.
I mean, you don't have to explain
Yeah.
patriarchal to me. I
Yeah.
have Roman Catholic Church, which is still patriarchal.
Yeah. I'm just gonna look there, see if I can find. Anyway, I'll send that to you afterwards, if I can. Let's see. Okay. So let's get to this Talmud. 1 second. Okay. It's changing of season. Okay, let's get to the Talmud. I'll find out for you, Phil, afterwards, where they found that earlier, that other version. But now we're gonna get to the Talmud piece, which talks about that whole process of waking up with the Birchot, Shachar. And Alan, if you don't mind reading for us.
Sure. All right, Babylonian Talmud, Barachot 60b. When he hears the voice of a rooster, he should say, "Blessed is he that gave the rooster discernment to distinguish between day and night." When he opens his eyes, he should say, "Blessed who makes the blind see." When he sits up straight, he should say, "Blessed who frees the imprisoned." When he dresses, he should say, "Blessed who clothes the naked." When he stands up, he should say, Blessed who straightens those who are bent over." When he alights on the ground, he should say, "Blessed who suspends the land above the water." When he walks, he should say, "Blessed who prepares the steps of man." When he ties his shoes, he should say, "Blessed who made for me all my needs." When he ties his belt, he should say, "Blessed who girds Israel with strength." When he spreads a cloth on his head, he should say, "Blessed who crowns Israel with glory." And may it be your will, Lord our God, that you accustom me to your Torah and attach me to your mitzvot. Blessed are you, God, who grants kindness to his people Israel.
Okay. So it's like a whole physical process of waking up. So why would you say then, blessed is he that gave the rooster discernment to distinguish day from night?
Because the rooster's the one that alerts you that the morning has begun.
Right, thank God. 'Cause if there was no rooster, you might sleep in and not feed your animals and do all your early morning chores. And I thought about this when I was living in Nepal, and every now and then, as part of the organization I worked for, we'd go into these little Himalayan villages,
Hear the roosters?
and to hear the roosters when you go there. And when you get to farms here and other places too, but it's like the rooster, it doesn't the roost. There's also alarm clocks, but in the little Nepalese village, they didn't have electricity, and they lived in mud huts, and they got up early, and when it got dark, they went to sleep, and it was like it used to be. And so the rooster was, thank God, you're waking me up. Most people, when they hear the rooster, once I slept over at the farm with my kids a few years ago, and we weren't like, thank God, the rooster. It's like, someone get that rooster and tell them to shut up,
Like in Cuba, when we went on that trip with Marlene a number of years ago, we went to this small farming village, and every morning that rooster would wake us all up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when we came here in the 70s, and lots of people had their roosters and their chickens, and every morning the rooster would get us up. You don't hear it anymore.
Oh, Cindy got rid of her chicken. She used to have chickens.
Well, roosters get up pretty early,
Yeah. Well, the minute the sun starts.
Yeah.
Next one, why would you then say, who makes the blind see?
Well, like Alan said, it may not be that they're blind, it's just that they're blind to seeing what the world is like.
Okay, so it's more metaphorically, it's like,
Yeah,
let me
Or blind to the Torah.
blind to the
Blind
Torah.
to the Torah.
What's the- Yeah, she opens his eyes, she can open her eyes and see. You guys are all interpreting very metaphorically. I mean, here it's very much, you're waking up. Thank God I can open my eyes and I can see, because there are a lot of people who open their eyes and you can't see, and even in days when you didn't have any glasses, or, and no way to cure blood. There are a lot of people who don't. So you wake up, you open your eyes, and the fact that you can open your eyes and see, thank God, right? That's just a small thing can be very grateful for, right? The ability to see. If someone were to take that away from you, not so easy, right? So, and then next, right? What is the first thing you do? You open up your eyes and you sit up straight in your bed. Blessed who frees the imprisoned. Why? Making me free. Yeah.
Because you can determine when you can get up. No, it's telling you when to get up. I mean, you hear the rooster, but if you were constricted in any ways, sorry, I'm just finding something.
if you're a slave in Egypt, then
Someone else tells you what to
tells
do.
you where to go, but if you're free, you can get up and feel like I've got my whole day before me, right? When you dress, you should say, blessed is he who clothes the naked. Why?
Because you could be so poor, you won't have any clothes.
We worry about so many things in our lives, but, not so long ago, to have like a few pairs of clothes, you'd be pretty happy about that, right? And that's just to have basics that you need. The tremendous, we can pick whatever clothes you want to wear and put them on, and
You're not in a prison uniform or something like that.
yeah, in a prison uniform, and you got clothes, right? Up until recent times, you had two pairs of clothes, and that was it. And like, well, if you were poor, they were not in great shape and clothing your children, and so sometimes the small things, right? We forget about them. We take them for granted, and then the way our world works, right? You take whatever you have for granted, and then you just want what comes next. When you stand up, you should say, blessed and he who straightens those who are bent over. Why? Not so easy, right? You've got back pain. I mean, back pain is one of the worst things you can have, right? And to not be bent over, thank God. Go ahead.
Somewheres along the way,
Yeah,
I came across, I don't know if it was, I guess it was an interpretation
yeah.
that this really applied to that God picks up after you finish saying Elenu, when you're bent over in prayer.
Yeah, yeah.
And that it applies to that. Now, I don't know if that's a common interpretation, but it's one I came across.
But that you have the ability.
You have the ability to think straight enough. Yeah, yeah. No,
Makes sense.
I've heard that too before.
Even if it's metaphorical.
Nancy was.
Nancy, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you can look at it metaphorically also. Those who are bowed down, right? Those who are in a position, not necessarily of servitude, but perhaps entrapped by their minds, or entrapped by a situation from which they cannot escape, an abusive situation, or, I mean, they are in some way emotionally, spiritually, not necessarily physically bowed down. Okay. And perhaps this offers hope for those people who find themselves in such situations. That's all I wanted to say. It's a metaphorical interpretation.
Reminding one that to find the freedom, at least within yourself, fight that. There's a sense of dignity from what I hear, they kind of like bow down. It's like your dignity is taken away.
Day could be that day, yeah.
That day. When you like, go ahead, Charles.
No, I was going to say two things. You could be bowed down or because of a heavy weight of responsibility or problems that you have on your shoulders. Or I can say from my experience, my wife's experience, being able to, if you've ever had really difficult back problems and someone is happy to be able to have that relieved one way or the other, that's certainly worth considering as a blessing. And that's what physically, and I agree with what Nancy is saying as well. And every day is a blessing. I don't know if I mentioned this to the group before. A cousin of mine who's had, I'm not going to enumerate all his difficulties, but he still says, in spite of everything, every day is a blessing. It's just a blessing to be here, no matter what condition you're in. At least that's his perspective.
Amen.
So the next, blessed are you who suspends the land above the waters.
You know what that reminds me of originally?
Yeah.
On Lakeshore Drive,
Yeah.
Lake Michigan, came all the way across.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was all water. And
Wow.
filled it in.
Oh, I didn't know
So, I
that.
mean, that was a blessing
Beautiful.
to build a highway and homes.
The ability to have land under your feet and to have some control of the human being
Right.
over.
Yeah, to be grounded. You can
Yeah.
walk,
Yeah. Beautiful.
if we don't walk on water. They made what the Dutch called a polder, right? A polder, that's what the Dutch
The
say.
Dutch called it.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, their whole half of the Netherlands are Ukraine.
right.
You,
Gosh. Several, couple of decades ago, and I can't remember the name of it, I can't remember the main actor in it, but the
yeah,
caps had melted, and so the whole earth was.
yeah, the
covered
day
in
after
water.
tomorrow, yeah.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah, and they had these little islands of both,
Oh, no, you mean, Kevin Costner?
that's what it is, yeah, I knew he was cute, wherever.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Waterworld. Yeah.
World.
Yeah.
The movie.
Yeah, and
Remember
so
that movie?
that's what
Water
people
World?
wanted, they wanted to be able to
Oh,
step on
it's
dry
quite
land.
the movie.
Most expensive movie ever made at the time.
Mhm.
But they spend the land over the water. It's also this is the way they understood, land and water. It's like a world where there's physics, right? Thank God there's a world where there's like rules, right? Well, we'll go into the metaphorical more afterwards. But when you lay on the ground, you get off your bed, you put your feet on the ground, and you're like, thank God I have this ground under my feet,
Mhm.
And then when you start to walk. Who prepares the steps of man or woman? What does that mean to you? Who prepares the steps?
That you're able to walk.
Yeah, you're able to walk. You're able to just walk around. You tie your shoes. Who made for me all my needs? What does that mean for you?
You cannot have shoes.
You cannot have shoes, or you could have shoes that fall off, but to have shoelaces is a pretty small need, right? But
Especially today, they make all their shoes for
well, probably don't need
Velcro
shoes.
crossings.
But to have shoes that fit, it's my needs. What are my needs, right? What are my needs? And then you tie your belt, girds Israel with strength. What do you think about that? What is that? Now we're talking about the Jewish people, not just ourselves.
Comparing it, doing this, which holds your pants up and
Yeah.
holds you tight. Israel has that.
Israel has some little oomph, and they spread a cloth on your head, a little shmata on your head, or a kippah, crowns Israel of glory. So, and then it's the end of what becomes the end of that blessing. Maybe your will, Lord our God, to accustom me to your Torah. So after you've said all these, what do you make of saying those last few verses at the end of this blessing? It may be your will, Lord our God, that you accustom me to your Torah, attach me to your mitzvot, bless you, God, grants good kindness to his people Israel. What do you make of that after all the very physical things we've been saying?
I'm interested about the phrase good kindnesses.
Mm-hmm.
Is there such a thing as bad kindnesses? Is it the best of kindness?
Well, it's a Jewish expression, chasadim tovim. Sure, like good deeds or good things, yeah, good kindnesses. It's
Okay.
extra good.
Okay.
But it is it's a phrase, a rabbinic
Okay.
phrase. Yeah.
And a katsumi to your Torah, that may also be a phrase, and the translation doesn't capture it.
Yeah. Well, what do you think of the translation?
Well, it's an interesting choice of words that you grow accustomed to the Torah, that you read it, that you understand it, that you practice it more.
That's in the Hebrew. It is grow. The Torah may become regular. Regular. It's like may Torah become normal to you, regularly inside your being. Okay.
My translation says familiar.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, beautiful. Familiar is it's a process, right? It's not. So, what do you think of waking up your day doing all of this? Right, it's like this is getting out of bed, right? It's kind of a powerful way to get your stuff. A lot of us wake up in the morning and then your mind starts to worry about not worry about all the things you gotta worry about that day or this or that. But instead of worrying, you have this little ritual, right? You say these things, and it's kind of getting you, setting your day going from the good place.
It doesn't take that long.
Yeah, it doesn't take that long. Let's go to the next one, Nachmanides. Nachmanides spent a lot of his life in Girona, as you were talking about Girona, which is just about an hour and 45 minutes from where I grew up in France. Very close to where I grew up. Someone read for me Nachmanides.
I'll read it.
Yeah, let's.
It seems to me that the set of morning brachot are brachot of praise over the way of the world. And even if you don't hear a rooster, he recites a bracha over it, and so too will all of them. This has become the custom, and the custom of Israel is Torah.
So what's he saying? Even in his time, not everybody heard a rooster. So do you say the blessing or not? And what if your back is actually bent and you're not? You still say the blessing. So what's he saying? He said, "What do you say then?" He's saying you still say it anyways, right?
Right.
Even you still say it, even if you don't, even if there's no rooster that you heard.
Maybe it helps you believe in it.
Yeah. So why do we say it? He says these brachot are praise over the way of the world. What does that mean? Praise over the way of the world.
The way things go, the way things are.
The way things are, right? It's gratitude or praise for the way things are.
It's a-
Go ahead.
It's in a way a deeply conservative idea. The world is well as it is, and yet he makes a radical point. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but when he says and the way of the world or uh, the custom of the people of Israel are Torah. So he has said, we who establish the customs, or we who follow those customs, they count as the teaching. They count as Torah. It's a very, I mean, maybe I'm misunderstanding that, but it's a very interesting statement.
What he's really changing it from what it is originally, right? Because originally it's about I hear a rooster, thank God for the rooster. I can get up, thank God I can get up. I open my eye, thank God I can get up. And which that's a very pragmatic gratitude, right? Like I can walk, thank you God I can walk. All these things, we could go through them, but he's saying it differently, right? He's saying praise God, and I think you're right. It is kind of conservative over the way of the world because he's saying the world is as it is. And you're praising the world for the way the world is. So it's not praising God for the goodnesses necessarily in your life, but it's praising God to some degree for things that are already in the world. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, what do we do when we think about the world? We go, all about the things. We don't often say, oh, thank God. Maybe there's a few things that we like about the world, but we're more like oy vey about the situation in the Middle East, or oy vey, But he's saying brachot of praise over the way of the world. In some way, that's even more powerful than thanking God for opening my eyes and thinking it's a kind of radical, but conservative, kind of religiously way of saying that there's something.
By the way, the world could even mean that the sun rises and
exactly, yeah.
and that the weather is tolerable, or that sort of just that the world functions the way it does. It's kind of
a world that makes some sense, right?
Right.
A world of
physics.
Physics, and we as human beings have the potentiality. So let's go through the blessings again with that view, and we can also bring more of our metaphoric readings, because he's saying it's metaphoric, because he's saying if you don't have the rooster, who cares?
Right.
So blessed are you that gave the rooster discernment to distinguish day from night, or who gave enabling us to distinguish day from night. How could you look at it as praising the world, or as praising what God gave human beings?
That the night or the day separates from the night.
Okay. So do we have it, we wake up and we have this daytime, and the night is scary maybe, and you can wake up in the day. You always have a day that comes. And the word in the Hebrew is bina, right? Bina. And bina comes from the Hebrew word bain, which means between. So you can also think, thank God, day and night. It can also be, goodness and dark and not so goodness, and could be, thank you God, you gave me the ability to distinguish, to go through life, being able to distinguish life in general, right?
Like good from bad.
Good from bad, day from night, going left instead of right, or right instead of left, Cause thank God for giving me a little bit of brains, to be able to live my life. Because, if you go through life, then we have this unique human ability to make decisions and to live our lives with free will. So thank you God, right? You're waking up and thank you God for giving me free will. That's what I think about when I say that. Because imagine if we were completely beholden to our instincts and we couldn't make any decisions. How terrible it would be,
What do people do who don't believe in God?
Yeah.
How do they manage to exist?
Well, they find their way, but they have a different belief system. But
Something.
it's even omens, witches. Some people believe in nothing at all.
Yeah,
It's
right.
hard,
I know.
and then I feel this. It is harder when you don't believe in anything.
Or they're not thanking anything or any.
Yeah, well,
Like,
that was my sermon on Yom Kippur. Of when you go through hard times, how do you survive when you don't have something to hold on to? It's much harder. So then when you open your eyes, this is what you guys are saying metaphorically, who enables me to see. So this is right, to really see, right? It's nice to be able to see what's in front of my nose, but it's nice to be able to discern a little bit deeper what's going on, what other people are thinking and talking about, and to really see, right? To really see, see, perceive, when we're having a hard time, one of the hardest things is you can't really see what's going on, right? But then when you have clear eyes and you can actually see what people are thinking and what life is about, how nice that is, right? When you have clear vision, that's like an amazing thing to have in life, right? I mean, when you perceive deeper, that makes your ability to go through life a lot easier when you see, Anybody else have anything for C that they want to mention?
May I ask if, was there any, if you happen to know if there's any dispute among the rabbis about whether a blind man should give the blessing, say the blessing about the blind? Does anybody have any discomfort with that at all? I don't know. It seems like the starkest example where it's hard to say it if you can't see in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. Or the bent over one too is, but I agree. The halachah on that. As I was going through my research for this, I saw a lot of other stuff. I never saw anything on that, but I'm sure
Right,
simple. If you just Googled it right now, you would find that. But yeah, you do say it. I just looked it up. You do say it because it's metaphorical. It's based on what Nachmanides, Ramban, is saying below here, which is that they became more metaphorical and spiritual than literal. Originally, they were very literal, right? The Talmud, they became much more spiritual. So you do say it. And that, you're right. That's the one that's the most stark. So they are really meant to be. These are meant to be spiritual in the way you begin your day, and that's why I love talking about these, is because the more you think about it, then when you read them, something happens, and these are really powerful ways of engaging your spiritual being in the morning, and I think that's waking up your spiritual being is really important, because if it stays asleep until you say Shema at night, then your spiritual being is only awake for a few minutes before you go to sleep. But if you wake up and you say these, and you kind of, oh yeah, I want to see, not only I want to see like what's in front of me, but see really more deeply people's feelings and what I'm doing in this world. That's the kind of vision. So, well, free. Go ahead.
The comment I would say on that is, a few years ago, maybe about 3 years ago, I had this, it was like an inflammation, I've got a lot of issues, but I was flat on my back, literally for about 6 weeks. It wasn't like a cold muscle, but it was an inflammation in my head. And I was in intense pain. I couldn't even sit up, eat, or anything like that. And I lived by myself. And fortunately, I have friends who were very good and that sort of thing. So 2 comments on that. One, I think it's a thankfulness for people who are able to come and care for you, who
Yeah.
are not bent over. But I think the other aspect of that is, if you don't say thank you, you become bitter. And bitterness is not a good thing, because you're not saying it because you're bitter about the situation. And I'm not saying I wasn't happy during that period of time, but you have to,
You stop saying it, that would make you very bitter.
yeah, yeah.
Beautiful. I think that's a really interesting insight. You know, to not say something and then instantly make you bitter about your fate in the world, you know. And this is all about the opposite, kind of opening up gratitude. What about freeze the imprisoned?
You can be imprisoned by your thoughts.
Yeah, you can be imprisoned by your thoughts or your habits, you know, your mind habits, your emotional habits, your clothe the naked. What about that one? How do you see that one metaphorically? We usually have, most of us have clothes.
That's what we need to tell.
Yeah. Well, there's a feeling that one can have of feeling naked, right? I.e., like we're
Well,
not
that's like feeling
protected.
cold.
Clothes, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, the feeling, there's a nice feeling of feeling protected, right? Clothes symbolize protection for us, you know, and so there's a feeling that one has, one's having in different ways, one feels exposed, like other people are out to get us, or, you know, whatever it is. So vulnerable, right? So having clothes on is symbolic. And even in dreams, people who interpret dreams say, you know, if you have dreams where when you're naked, it feels very vulnerable. When there's dreams where someone can put clothes on you, it means you're feeling protected, right? So, you know, go thank you, God. Or it could be also an aspiration to feel protected, you know, in your professional life or in your social life, or you know, just walking around the neighborhood, not feeling like you're vulnerable. I mean, it's the worst feeling to feel vulnerable, right? You should stand up. We talked about this, or bent over. There's a million ways to feel bent over in our world, unfortunately. You know, under the weight of, you know, all kinds of things, of oppression, of our own. We suspend the land above the water. So this is where I connect to what you were saying, Leslie, about physics, right? A world that makes some sense physically, you know. So we have, you know, global warming, all these things happening, but still, you know, we know overall our world makes sense. The leaves turn a certain color when they do, and there's gravity, thank God, and you know, we live in a world where overall it makes sense, and you know, thank God. If you know, the less the world makes sense, the harder it is. If we think about, for a lot of us, if there's one thing that's off in our life, how much it's hard, right? And so we thank God for all the things that are able allow us to just have our world allow us to have our routines and the people who uphold us and the things that, you know,
You
that the waters and the land are where they are.
when we first moved to Oak Park, there was a man who used to walk down the street who was totally bent over.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that name sticks in me. I don't know if Howard made it up, but he said that when he went to medical school, he learned it was called Titsikamusha disease. And I don't know if that's for real or if he made it up, but whenever I was like bent over, that always comes into my mind because it's such a strange name.
Right.
And the poor guy, his eyes are always on his feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he never gave up. He went out every day walking.
Yeah. That's really one of the worst things.
Right, no.
I could sleep like that.
Oh.
Then it's who prepares the steps of man or woman? What does that mean? How do you look at that metaphorically?
Who keeps our feet on the path of Torah and righteousness. Because it's hard work. It's hard work being a good person, especially in terrible times. You have to make moral choices all the time. That's how I'm interpreting it.
Path that you're taking.
Yeah. Well, there, in the Hebrew, hamechim is really to prepare, you know, to organize. Lachim, to organize. It's like, I mean, it's like this traditional Jewish, traditional religious idea that God prepares your path for you too.
Right.
It's like sometimes you're like, oh God, what's happening to me? But there's a path there for you to walk on. If you walk on that path, that's even though you can't discern it sometimes, it seems a little crazy to you, but they're there, you know, there's a path for you to walk on, you know, the steps. And so I love the idea of steps, right? Because it's like one step in front of the other, you know. So it's like the very steps are prepared, you know, are there's a path for you to find redemption wherever you stand. That's a beautiful idea to start your day, right? Whatever this day leads you to in its heart, there's going to be a way, there's a path for you to find something in that day.
Oh, it reminds me of the path less traveled.
Yeah, the path, exactly. Yeah. So the Shasali Kotzer Ki, who made for me all my needs, you know, he made, that's a pretty bold statement, right?
Yeah.
Bold statement.
For everything.
Yeah. He's like, I've already got everything I need, right? The opposite of what the TV is trying to tell you. You know, $24.99, you know.
There it is. It's everything you need.
Yeah.
There's a commercial I just saw this morning. Most places to replace your teeth are $69,000, but we can do it for only $29,500. Like that's only, like
Well,
that's
oh my
nothing
gosh.
else.
Wow. Yeah. It's a powerful reminder to think all my needs are taken care of, right? That can all the others, you know. I've got food, I've got basic food, you know, I've got
Maybe
clothes,
intelligence also.
I've got some intelligence,
Have a companion.
companion, or I've got myself, or I've got friends, or I've got, you know.
I can look at it and go be expansive or modest.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I read it and I say it's kind of a push to be modest about what you need.
Right.
It's reminding you, you know, I'd love to have this and that, but
I have what I need.
I have what I need. I'd like
Instead
to have
of
my
wanting
private
to-
jet to travel wherever I want. I need this.
Slightly differently, because if you think, we're first world.
Yeah,
So, but, you know, there are plenty of second, third world locations. But, you know, another aspect is the anticipation of God will care. That's what we call it.
beautiful. Well, and even in third world, you know, having lived in, you know, in Nepal and India and or two of the poorest countries in the world. So there are places in Africa where there's definitely famine. And, you know, there are places of famine in the world, but even in most developing and undeveloped countries, there is still, you know, there maybe not be a good meal, but there's some kind of meal, you know, there's some, and I've spoken about this many times, but, you know, I remember looking in Nepal, driving by my first few days, big mound of garbage, and the kids were looking through the garbage and thinking, oh, what existence. Then going by there 4 months later and looking more closely and seeing they actually have smiles on their faces. Not to say their lives were good, but they were content. They were content, you know, what they knew, you know, they had their, and there are a lot of people who live in mansions and river forests. If you look at their face, they don't look as content as those, you know. So it's
Has everyone seen the Halloween setup on Ashland? That guy that does the beautiful one at Christmas time? It's about a half a block past Chicago Avenue, going north on Ashland. It's a whole scene with police and guns and all
Really?
kinds of, I mean, it's the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen in my life. And this guy spends a fortune setting up these things. I mean, it's like his yard is like two widths.
I know, it's
It's
beautiful.
on Ashland,
Above Iowa, it's on Iowa.
yeah, a little bit,
Yeah,
Christmas time, it's the guy who owns a Mexican.
yeah, next to the
Supermarket.
grocery store.
Supermarkets, right, but it's just unbelievable.
I haven't been there, so I'll have
It's
to-
on the,
Reflection of our times. What is scariest to us in this day and age? That's what's terrifying.
What's the question?
Iowa and Ashland. So we're gonna have to stop here, but the last two, girds Israel, strength, crowns Israel, glory. A lot of things we worry about often as a Jewish people, and this is a little thing of saying, okay, it's not always as we wish it to be, but we're still around and praying for it. And so, you go through this every day and the things we've been talking about. That's a wonderful way to start your day, just kind of think about all the good things in our lives, think about the possibility and the potential for it. And if you come to synagogue and you read these, and instead of thinking about by rote, try and think about a few of these, even a few of these, that's what brings meaning to prayer, or one of the things that brings meaning to prayer. And that's why we pray, right? And so to have that start morning with that in itself is an amazing Jewish practice. Thank you, everyone.
thank
Thank
you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Have a good day, everyone.
Were you guys able to hear things?
I'll send you a link.
Okay, you let me know, Rabbi Glick, as soon as you find out.
Phil or Charles?
Yeah, I'll call.
Were you able to hear? Okay, or?
Oh, okay,
He's the one
Jonathan,
who-
Jonathan, okay, great.
They're the most complicated.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Really.
Bye. Thank you and keep warm.
Hey, you too.
It's 54 degrees in it.
Bye.
Alan, you mind turning off the computer?
Yeah.
Oh, 12 o'clock, they 12 o'clock.